Moving forward, we have Buffalo on the road at Toledo. The home team Rockets are 15.5-point favorites, and this game carries an over-under of 52.5 points. It kicks off Tuesday, October 31st, Halloween night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. They're expecting highs in the low 30s, and there's possible that there will be some snow there. Possible I'll be at that game, especially if it is looking like it's going to snow. I do love those snow games. These teams don't play very often, but Buffalo did win at home last year in this matchup. And on the other side, Jason Candle, one of my favorite coaches to bet against in the country. He's a 44% against the spread coach in 9 seasons. This is his 9th year. He's 3-5 against the spread this year. His team wins ball games, but they don't always cover the spreads. And this indicates 2 things to me. Number one, that Toledo isn't winning games relative to what their talent level suggests they should. And number 2, the market is always going to rate Toledo more highly because of that talent disparity and not adjust that because they're just not covering those lines. So 2 things you can take advantage of. Again, Toledo has not really been in the national public eye, and they will be during Maction. So I'm looking for these early Maction season edges because I don't trust that the market has adjusted enough. I do have to note, though, this line did open Toledo minus 13.5 and did go through 14. It's not a super key figure, but it's the biggest key figure we have above 10 over there. Again, all the way up to minus 15.5, minus 16 in some spots at time of recording. And also note, Toledo has won 7 straight football games. The talent is there. There's no doubt about that. You know, they're not misrepresenting their talent. Toledo is one of the better cornerback duos in the group of 5 in Quinyon Marshall and Chris McDonald. RJ DeLacy has also been really solid in slot coverage as well. They defend everybody really, really well. I mean, the talent level in Quinyon Marshall alone compared to almost every single other receiver in the MAC there's a huge, huge disparity. He's definitely somebody that can take your top receiver out of a game. On the other side, Buffalo quarterback Cole Snyder, he's been a bit more conservative this year. He has just 8 turnover-worthy throws versus 22 of them last year. So we're talking a huge improvement in the decision-making department there, but he also has a much lower average depth of target. He has more throws that have been batted down to line of scrimmage and has one of the lowest yards per attempt in the country. It's just 5.7. So we're talking about a quarterback that has really dialed it back this year, was probably told in the offseason, hey, Cole, you need to cut down on turnovers. So his response to that is, well, I'm just going to throw shorter a line. It does have to do with offensive scheme as well, but he's not taking the chances that he needs to, especially as a 2-score dog. I mean, you should be taking shots down the field. I don't know that Cole Snyder is going to. On offense, Toledo has Daquan Finn. He's one of the more exciting quarterbacks to watch in the MAC. But they also have the conference's leading rusher in Penny Boone. Kind of came out of nowhere. He actually wasn't even listed on the Phil Steele preseason depth chart. And here he is leading the entire MAC in rushing yards. Buffalo is 95th in EPA per rush allowed. Only 3 teams nationally have allowed more 20-plus yard runs this season than Buffalo. So they'll give up explosive runs. And guess what? Penny Boone is a very explosive runner. He has the 3rd most breakaway runs in the MAC. That is 15 or more yards. The Rockets, they run the daylight out of the ball. Whether it be with Finn, with Boone, with a combination of everybody else on that roster, they're a big-time lean into the run more than the pass because they know their strength, and they have a pretty talented offensive line as well. The big swing here for me is who turns over the ball the fewer times. I hate underthinking things like that because, well, yeah, duh, if you win the turnover battle, you're more likely to win the game. But Buffalo has 6 giveaways in their last 3 games. Toledo only has 2. But Buffalo also has the 6th most takeaways in their last 3 games. So we're talking about a lot of changing of hands of the football in Buffalo games over the last 3. So I just keep an eye on that. There may be a propensity for either team to turn the ball over more than you think. I would also bet under 52.5 in this game. 52 is a key figure when you're talking about college football totals. You can find 51.5. Always bet the best number on the board, but if you don't have access to that, 51.5 still isn't that bad because 51 is the 2nd most frequent total in college football in the last 5 years. So that is one of the most key numbers, and you're still getting it above that. My reasoning real quick, strong defenses on either side of the ball, Toledo more so than Buffalo. There's a propensity for both teams to commit and force turnovers, and now you can think those turnovers may turn into points. I see it as you're over the 50-yard line, you turn the ball over, that's a drive killer. And then the reliance on the run game for Toledo, even though they will likely find some explosive success in that ground game, I don't know that's enough to be getting a score of 31-21 or something along those lines. That's going to be pushing up on that total. So under 52.5 would be my lean for Buffalo at Toledo.